feels good. Friends, hello. This is a long overdue episode. Um, we'll have a catch-up session, but this episode is sponsored by Welcome Back, my friends. On today's episode, Nicole stops by. She's a sound healer, author, hypnotherapist, human design specialist. I think this is our third episode, third or fourth.
Third.
Third, I believe, yeah, three,
Yeah.
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 One thing I love about friends of the show coming on, you get to see the journey and the evolution, which is dope. And it's kind of like a time capsule where you can see where you were at that point in time. And then you get to see each other grow as friends throughout the years. And that's
Absolutely.
amazing. But Nicole, I gave you a mini red carpet. Let us know who you are and what you got going on.
I do this every time we get on here. I'm like, um, I'm all of those things you said, plus more.
That's more.
Let's see, where do I start? Author, like you said. I'm really starting to get into I had my hypnotherapy um certificate in January, but
Mhm.
again, that was that little fear of putting stuff out that people are not normally comfortable with.
Mhm.
So now I'm starting to really get into that. So that has been fun. Um, and what else? Right now, I guess my biggest thing that I'm doing is trying to get my program going. So I mean, I guess I'm a whole bunch of different things. Like we were talking about earlier, for me, I've been in the
Creative
government for
bag.
so long that that creative process was there, but it wasn't there.
Mhm.
Since my awakening to myself and to, the other parts of the universe. Um, my creative flow has just been crazy. It's been nonstop. And so it's just so much I'm diving into, I'm moving into, I'm learning, which is the whole reason for our journey. But all of this stuff brings me back to the point of um, being able to release what I've learned to other people so that they can actually understand and get to know themselves on a grander scale. And I think
Mhm.
that's for me, that's my whole purpose. What I like to, if I had to call myself something, is I love to help people reset their souls back
Mhm.
to the frequency of self-mastery, self-love. Because I feel like once you start to love yourself, you set your boundaries.
Mhm.
I, and not just like looking yourself in the mirror, like not just that. It's literally seeing all the aspects of you while you're standing in the mirror, no matter what you look like, and loving and accepting all of that. And I think that's where a lot of people, like I was literally just thinking about this yesterday, how a lot of people feel that they need somebody to love them, but honestly, the only person that you need to love you is yourself. You may,
Exactly.
you want other people to love you, but the love has to come from internal to, you know, really become external.
Mhm.
I think that is one of my biggest journeys here, is to show people, you know, themselves in a different light that they haven't seen before, or have, they may have seen it before, but they have forgotten, and that candle has been a little dimmed. So
Yeah.
I'm basically here to help them, because I hate when we say that we are healers. I get it, but honestly, people heal themselves by, somebody else being a facilitator, honestly.
So you would say that you serve yourself as a mirror, so you're showing the version of themselves that they're
Absolutely.
seeking to be.
Absolutely. Like I mean, I started my program. It's called the Road to Reset,
Yeah, I
and
was going to talk about that. Since we dived into it, let's do it now. Talk to us about it. I
oh
see
my
that
God,
you had a awesome cohort.
I
Um,
did. It was my first one, and again, like this has been something that has been deep inside of me for so long, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's a 6-week course, and we are basically diving into a traumatic experience.
Mm.
Like, people who have, there have been people on my actual, in my cohort that has been raped. They have had infidelity issues with, their significant others. They've had, uh, so many different things, adoption. I mean, they went through the ringer on a lot of these different things. And what we do, my program is designed to help you actually go through the process of resetting it. And when I say that, I mean, we look at that traumatic experience, and what we do is we recognize it. You recognize it first. You recognize that traumatic experience, and it's the acronyms that reset means something. It's actually an acronym. So recognizing the traumatic experiences first, and then what we're doing is examining the dense emotions, because I hate to call them negative emotions, because I feel that they're a little bit more than that. They
Mhm.
are dense. They make you feel heavy. So when you're sad, you feel, you're heavy. When
Mhm.
you feel pain, it's heavy. It becomes dense. And when you hold on to it, to me, I truly, truly, truly feel that when you hold on to these dense emotions and you suppress them,
Mhm.
that it forms into, density. And this is where we get, IBS, and we also get breast cancer, because as women, we hold on to our pain in our chest. So this is where all of those different things start to come. Um, and so what we do is basically go through those dense emotions, like the the biggest 5 dense emotions that you can think about, which could be depression, sadness, anger. I'm just throwing off some. And
Yeah.
we through those, we examine them, we get to know the true definition, because we always think that we know the definition of something,
Mhm.
and it could be a totally different definition than what you think. So I get them to write down, like I have a whole workbook that they actually get, and I actually have it here. So it's like this workbook, and it's
Oh, that's
very,
dope.
very, 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 very like deep.
That's
Um,
cool.
and we go through those dense emotions, and examine them, and then the S is for study. So what we're doing is basically asking the questions, and really, you know moving through each emotion individually, so that we can really break it down to see what happened, why it happened, and not necessarily in a negative way, but becoming unbiased, and
Mhm.
just becoming the observer of those dense emotions, and seeing how they have actually impacted our lives from that particular incident all the way
Right.
up until now, and really pulling that stuff out to see what really, how it impacted us in a way that we can change, or we can kind of release that emotion.
Mm.
And then from there, it's elevate. So we're learning to elevate these dense emotions by, different things like meditation, let's see, kickboxing, so many different things that you can do to elevate that emotion and really
Mhm.
release it. Yoga, massage therapy is another thing.
I love a good massage.
Doing hypnotherapy is another thing, where you can kind of really tap into that inner guidance system that you have, and really find out why you are the way you are, and how it can be healed. And I will never forget, the first one that I had was freaking amazing, because I had a couple of them done, and this is why I ended up wanting to actually do something a little. I wanted to do it for myself, and because I got a lot out of it. And one of the things, I'll take two. One, the first one that I had, it was with a gentleman, and I actually drove from Maryland to North Carolina just to do it, because I was really intrigued behind it. And when I got there, one of the things that he said, once he kind of tapped into me, he was like, you're supposed to be doing these, right? And I'm like, okay. So he basically shifted me through a past life. And in that past life, I was a male.
Mhm.
And know, I told him what I looked like, and it was so weird because I'm like, I can see all these things, and I'm talking. I'm like, damn, this is wild that you can actually do these things. And as I went through this past life regression, um, one of the things was I had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend wanted kids. But me, I didn't want kids. And throughout the session, basically what happened was I saw my father kill my mother, and I thought it was my fault. And in this session, I thought that it was actually my fault, that the reason why it happened. So I did not want to bring life into, you know, into the world at that time because of the pain that I did not actually get to kind of go through, like the
Right.
two weeks. So because of that, we ended up breaking up. But I really did love her, like on a really, really heavy level. So then basically he took me back to where I was about to take my last breath. And he asked me who was around, and she was there. And he told me to look in that person's eyes and see if I recognized that person. And
Mhm.
it was weird because that person was my mother in this physical lifetime. And then it was like some other questions that he asked. Like, one of the things that I realized is that because of the past life that me and her lived in this life, I always felt like I owed her something because
Mhm.
I never was able to give her what she wanted. Even though we had a true love, she wanted kids and I didn't. So in this lifetime, I felt like I owed her something. Isn't that the craziest thing?
You okay?
That
I
was so.
want to I want to backtrack because to us this is like a normal conversation, but it ain't really normal like we think it is.
Yeah, that's true.
The Because you will hear instances where it's like, okay, my sister this life was my brother last life.
Yes.
Your mom's last life was your significant other.
Well, we went back to a a past life that was still affecting me in this lifetime. So
So
it could have been 100, not just the last one. It could have been ones before that this kind of happened. But he basically tapped into one that was affecting me now, and
what I find interesting about what you with the whole premise,
right,
let's say for example, this life you had onto a lot of freaking pain and you transition in it.
yeah. Mhm.
You didn't clear that energy before you left. So you're
Right.
carrying it. I really think maybe this is just me analyzing, overanalyzing. Because I look at all this as like a play, like a game. Like,
Absolutely. I'm with you.
so I wonder if you like, okay, we need to make this interesting in this life. You go be this, you go be that, we go cross function some stuff. It really, and it's wild when you just say it out loud. But that's literally how it is.
Yeah. And it's another one that I had. It took me um back to when I died in that because I had another one too. And this one was actually way more deeper than the first one.
Hmm.
That one was just the past life regression. The one that I did with the other lady was a past life regression, but also a higher self hypnosis where I was actually able to tap into my higher self and to get to really answer some questions.
Hmm.
So with her, she did the same thing. She took me to a past life regression, and at the end of that, she said, okay, when you take your last breath, what do you do? And I said, I feel like it's like space. It's
Hmm.
dark, but it's not like it feels beautiful. It doesn't feel like what people usually think. Um, and then she's like, take me through what's happening. And basically, I know I hear a lot of people talk about like if they some people have near death experiences, and I love to watch near death experiences. And they always talk about how they get the movie of their lives or whatever.
Hmm.
So basically for me, it was like a conference room, kind of sort of. If I had to say it was something physical on this physical realm, it's kind of like a conference room. And multiple spirits there was my spirit, my
We're having technical difficulty, guys. Bear with. I think my cat's trying to get in the room.
we were basically mapping out. So basically we were sitting down and we were mapping out the next time that we were going to come back into this physical reality and kind of figure all of these different things out, the intricate details of different things, and going through. And it was like maybe about 10-15 spirits that were just in this conference room, and we were just sitting there and we were like talking. So she was asking me what was happening, and I was basically telling her, we're going through and trying to figure out how we want to do this again, and blah 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 blah, and all this other stuff. And like some of the things that, like, you can either come back into this physical reality, and not necessarily just on the earth plane, but also on other different planets and galaxies and different things like that. And but we were talking about coming back to earth, and what was the other things that was happening? And I was talking about how you can either come back or you can be the oversoul, which the oversoul is basically that intuitive voice that's inside of you that you listen to or you don't listen to. Some people are really in tune with their higher self, and some people are not as in tune with their higher self. But things like spiritual awakenings can happen to where you start to become in tune with the higher self. So like a lot of people look, of course, outside for their comfort and their empowerment, but honestly, most of that stuff is internal. So she was asking me all of these different questions, and she was basically talking to my higher self, and I was answering from my higher self. And one of the things that I thought was the coolest thing was the question was, why is Nicole holding on to like the fear of abandonment or the fear of death? It was like one of those two. And the answer was she's almost finished healing from it. Probably they even said she's probably at a 90-95% of healing it. So she has to kind of, she has like 5 or 10 more percent to actually be healed from this, fear of abandonment, fear of death. And she asks, like, can you actually, put the definition of creator's light inside of it to heal it? And my higher self came back and was like, Nicole would love for us to do this, but we would rather her go through the experience, so that because she is here to teach other people how to release fear of different things. So we want her to continue to go through the experience. I know she wants us to, what did she say? I know she wants us to heal it, but we would rather her, since she is supposed to help people heal through their own fears of abandonment and fears of these things, we would rather her go through it so she knows the process so that she can help somebody else out. And I was just like, wow, that was crazy to me. It was amazing. And those were the type of things that came out of I know I talk a lot about that, but I really, so that's why I started to do them, because it was just one of those things where people don't even realize, first and foremost, that we can actually tap into our higher self and get the answers through the hypnosis sessions. And really, it's more like a deep meditative state to me. Like, they're getting you very comfortable. You're getting it in a really relaxed state, and then you're kind of tapping into that essence. So it's more like you're probably in the fourth or fifth dimension, honestly. And your higher self, like, I always feel like your higher self has to come down to be able to, like, they actually have to lower their frequency in order to tap into you, so to gain those answers, and and all of that kind of stuff. So I just loved it. So that's why I ended up doing it. But yeah, so that's where I am now. And then the program. So I was talking about the program, right?
Yes.
But those were some of the things and ways in which you can elevate the actual dense emotions. So that was the E, and then the T is transcending. So the T is basically about, what did you learn from it? Were you, how did you feel going through it? Where are you at now? Basically observing where you are in this space now. How do you feel about it now? So, that's the whole reset methodology. And we go through it for 6 weeks. We meet once a week as a group on Sundays, and then throughout the week I do one-on-ones with each person that's in the cohort. So it was really amazing. I was really proud of myself, and I don't say that with, like, being an asshole or anything like that, but
Yeah.
to really do something that you've been wanting to do for a long time, but you had a level of fear in it. I mean, it just really kind of made me understand that I have the power to do any damn thing that I really want to. I just have to do it. I just have to go for it. I just have to put it out there. And that really kind of really helped me out in so many ways, because now I know that I can do it. Now I have my lessons behind it. Now I know how to make it better. Now I know what worked, what didn't work. I think it was so good that, like, some of the women were like, we don't want this to be over. They were like, how can we actually,
Yeah.
still keep in contact, and maybe we do these once a month. And I was like, damn, they just gave me another idea. Do something once a month, and we can just kind of all get together. I can have speakers come on there. So it was like, it just opened up another level to me. And I just been really I was really happy with it. Really happy with it. So
This seems
yeah,
like your baby too. But you,
it is.
Nicole, you can't. The thing with you, which I love, you throw so much great things, and I got to go back and dissect to bring. Like you said a lot of things. Let's rewind. Let's rewind. The
Okay.
oversoul. I found that very interesting
Okay. Let's
because
talk about it.
I didn't know you could incarnate as your oversoul. But
Yeah, you
then
can be the oversoul, or you can be the actual physical body.
this is
My my like, from what the my oversoul was saying, is like, they rather do the physical part. They rather come back and be able to, because it's like, they said it's funny, because she was like, when you put these nuggets out there for people, for the actual physical person to get,
yeah.
like, sometimes it's frustrating because they don't get it, but when they do get it, she said it's like eureka, like, wow, they got it, like. And it's like really connecting with the spiritual side and your physical side, and really balancing it.
Hmm.
Or being able to really, that was another thing that they were talking about, the chakra system.
Yeah.
It was like, I had a couple of chakras that were unbalanced, and some of them, we say we're going to balance these things, but she actually tipped some over, like my throat chakra. She
Hmm.
tipped it so that I'm actually able to really speak and talk, and utilize my voice when at first I was not doing any of this. So it's just little things like that that I thought were amazing in the session. And it was a long process, but
Yeah.
it was definitely a good session. And I really enjoyed it. And it really opened my eyes to something different. And I'm like, it can't be, to me, it can't be fictitious because of the fact that it was me. Like I was
Yeah.
the one that was there. So I just really enjoyed it. And you know, yeah. So what are your questions?
No, well, the whole, I just think the whole, let me ask you this. Do you think that you come back and play like the same character? Like, let's say, for example, you at the end of your life review, you're chatting with your oversoul, and you're
Mhm.
like, okay, we didn't do it exactly how we wanted to. Let's just rewind it.
Mhm.
Do you think that's the case sometimes?
I don't think you necessarily come back as the same, but you may come back in that same family and try to replay it again or something like that. Not necessarily as the same person,
Hmm.
but you come back as a different person, but just with the same objectives, the same, maybe
Hmm.
some of the same pieces inside of that soul blueprint may be inside of, you know, what you're supposed to be doing here. So say for instance, in this lifetime, you were supposed to learn how to forgive your mother
Right.
or something like that, and then before you passed away you weren't able to do that. So now if you decide to come back into this life, the next lifetime, it may be learning how to forgive your brother instead of your
Mm,
mother. And that way that you still have that element inside of your soul's blueprint that
yeah.
you have to learn how to get through. So it may not be that same person, it might be a different person or somebody that
Mm,
may have killed your brother, that you now have to move through that those dense emotions from the anger and the pain. So now you have to figure out how to release that, because if you don't release it, you're not able to kind of move past it. So these are
mm,
like the lessons, that the little nuggets that we are here to kind of learn and move through them. And I think once you get to a point where, I really feel like perfection doesn't really come until you transition, honestly. Like
yeah.
nobody here is perfect. And I don't know why we have this notion of thinking that we are, but when you transition, that's when you become perfect to me. So throughout this whole lifetime, it's really about learning the lessons throughout your whole life, and really trying to focus in on um really tapping into your soul's blueprint, that highest level or that highest path in your soul's blueprint, to be able to move yourself forward. So a lot of us get stuck because of fear.
Yeah.
And but it's life. It is life. This is how things work. This is how it's done. And I just love how all of these pieces just come together. Like I really feel like nothing is coincidental. Um, it doesn't matter how bad it is or how good it is. I don't really think anything is coincidental. Death, I don't think any of that stuff is just something that happens. Like I really feel
Even the
like,
most challenging too.
yes, I really feel like I remember we were talking about, well, not us, but I was
Mhm.
listening, and somebody was talking about how even when it comes to groups, like maybe like a group of people died on the airplane.
Mhm.
Those are, all of those people had soul contracts
Yep.
together about how they were going to actually, transition from this physical world to the actual, spiritual world. And it's the same when you have somebody that kills somebody. They have that soul contract together that these things are going to happen. And okay, Rich, and I know this is way out here, right?
Oh no.
So I'm also like, I have the ability to channel. And I've had a couple of people who have passed away that I was able to kind of connect with.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I really got out of a lot of this stuff is that um so I had a friend who lost a loved one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was pretty young. And the thing, when I tapped into her energy, basically she was telling me that the reason why they orchestrated this together was because in another lifetime they were mother and daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and the daughter actually passed away from a she had like a tumor, and she was like 7, and she saw how in the spiritual realm it leveled her up spiritually, like in the spiritual realm, not in this physical realm, but in the spiritual realm it leveled her up to a status of like, over there are, what I can kind of say it's kind of similar to is the military. So you have like galactic beings, you have like high council of light, you have different councils and different levels, just like in the
Mm-hmm.
military. So when you are here and you have a lesson of death and things like that, you're basically on the spiritual side, you're leveling each other up in a spiritual sense, but like in the military. If you understand what I'm saying, I don't know if you get it, but
No, no, I get it. It's fucking with me though.
so basically, we orchestrate stuff in the physical world in order to help ourselves grow spiritually. Spiritually, we grow here, but we also grow in the spiritual on the actual spiritual side. Like once we gain the lesson, we understand it spiritually. It just kind of elevates us in on the other side. So so it happened to the lady here that I knew. So they kind of orchestrated this together because they saw spiritually how it moved her to a different level spiritually. Um, I
Can I
guess
add to that point? If you don't, okay, with the killing, let's say you that was a person's mom, and you holding on to that hurt of course somebody like did your mom. If you hold on to that, your spiritual rank is going down on the other side because you add an extra, let's just say,
mhm.
vibrational baggage
Okay,
that you
right.
didn't go into it. This is wild. So this is a game.
It, oh, absolutely. I feel like it is.
Oh,
I also had a another little cousin who tapped into me. They kind of passed away. They were both 18 and they passed away like 2 or 3 weeks apart, I think. And when I tapped into him, one of the things was that his mom would be like, he never comes to me.
hmm.
He never comes to me. Like he always goes to other people, but he never comes to me. She never has dreams about him or anything like that. And basically, he shared with me the fact that she's holding on to so much anger because he was shot. She's
Yeah.
holding on to so much anger about it that he can't get through the
Um,
denseness of things. So until she learns how to release some of the anger and some of the pain that she's feeling, he's not going to be able to kind of connect with her. So I
wow.
thought that that was amazing because a lot of
That
people
makes sense.
don't realize like we
Yeah.
are holding on to this density when it comes to and it's a human thing. Like we're going to hold on to the anger, we're going to hold on to the pain, and grief is not something that you could just be like, oh, I'm over it. It's something that's going to be there. It's going to be there for a while, and there are going to be triggers, and there are going to be different things that are going to happen that's going to bring up this anger. But when you start to understand that this is life and this is the physical way of us, we have to learn how to release it. And once you start to release it, you're actually able to kind of connect to your loved ones. That is something that I've been told, you know. So it's really about releasing the pain, releasing some of it anyway. And that person's not going to really connect with you until after you've actually been able to release some of that. So I thought that that was amazing as well. Your face is like, wait.
Because one, I had smoked before this episode, so this is really fucking with me right now. because like, this makes so much sense. It makes me think, okay, let me bring it in. You know how earlier you said you don't believe anything is coincidental.
Yes.
I firmly believe that, let's say something, I'll give you a prime freaking example.
Okay.
I work in sales, and my old company, they let me go.
Okay.
But during that meeting with my manager when he let me go, he said, like your energy, like your work ethic, we have another opportunity for you, just not this one.
Okay.
I say that to say, before that was about to happen, I felt that it was going to happen, but I
Mm-hmm.
felt the vibration that everything is going to work itself out because it always do. If I held a different frequency of fear, it would have still happened. It would have been a little buffer period of let's say you wasn't working for a little bit, but then the next thing was going to happen eventually. But because you tuned into the frequency where everything is okay, you bypassed all that fluff.
I do believe that. Mm-hmm.
So if you take that same principle and apply it to everything, what happens is just the setting you up for the next step. If you're oversoul and you are co-creating this, the the other stuff is already designed. You're just maneuvering yourself through it. You hurt yourself when you align with what you don't want, but you're still going to get to the destination, but you're taking a detour off the straight line. You're going to learn some lessons, and then you're going to come back.
Yeah.
And if you just hope, and then hope that in gratitude has been a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Just truly tapping in. Like, even if you just go back to how things was a year ago, or if even if you, it's the simplest of things, even if you not where you want to be, that's the perfect time to hold on to that gratitude frequency, because you already at the opposite of the pendulum. So when you really like, if you hate your job, even the smallest thing of like, okay, I'm grateful that I get a check every month because I get to pay for this, I get to pay for that.
Yep.
I don't like this, but I'm grateful. And you just hold on. It's like, wow, this view walking to work is amazing. Or let's say, like, I'll give another example. I feel like I'm ranting now. In my condo, it's like complex. It's like a shit ton of nice cars downstairs. So in the morning before I go to work, I'll go in a parking lot and I say, you know what? I think I'm gonna take the Ferrari today. I think I'm gonna take the Mercedes. And what's freaking me out, on one of the Mercedes, it has my initials, and it has 22 next to it. 22
Mm-hmm.
is my master number, and of course, first and last name. But
Mm-hmm.
the alignment, so that's the oversoul communicating, saying you're in the frequency of what you want. This game is nuts. When you just look at it as a game, it's a game changer.
It's a game changer. Yo, and this is why I say that people don't even realize that they're their own cheat code. Like you're your
Mm-hmm.
own cheat code. Like you are your own cheat code. You have the ability to change the codes to how you want them to be. Like we are so used to things happening like to us instead
Yes.
of us really thinking like maybe this is actually happening for me in some type of way. I look at everything as anything that goes in a like that is trying to put me in a dense feeling. I'm like, okay, what's the lesson here? I'm always looking for the lesson. Like, so, okay, like I give you a prime example. The other day, and this doesn't happen in the damn federal government, but I didn't get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And most people would be like, what the fuck? Like, I ain't
Yeah.
even, you know what I did? And this grew. I had to grow to this. I bust out laughing. I just started laughing. I was like, okay, universe, I see what you're trying to do. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I was dealing with the HR team in my office, I think they were kind of surprised that I really wasn't worried about it. Even
Yeah.
one of my supervisors was like, I'm so sorry that this happened. I was like, it's okay. She was like, no, it's not. It's not
It's
okay.
unacceptable.
But my thing is, I'm like,
What's
okay,
the
you
next
might not
play?
think it's okay, but I'm okay. Like, I know I'm gonna get my money. That's first and foremost. Luckily, like the bills that I had to pay, they were already done. So I didn't really have, so it wasn't like they put me in a bind, but I really feel like the orchestration of that was to kind of bring light and shed light on our HR department. Not necessarily, I was just kind of like the middle person that it happened to. And luckily it happened to me because I was kind of calm about the whole situation.
Was able to alchemize it.
Right. So they were more, so now like they will have that, now that they have that lesson and that experience, they know next time that we have to pay more attention to basically what was happening in that moment, because I had like a temporary promotion while my supervisor had she had surgery. So they never, like, they didn't take the time to go into the system and stop it. So it expired. And once it expired, it cut me off. So now they know, now everybody knows that, hey, if you give somebody a temporary promotion, you have to pay attention to the date. So I feel like that was the lesson out of the whole thing. It brought exposure that of something that HR was lacking at the time. But now they're in a better situation. Now they leveled up in some ways. Now they have that experience and now they know what to do next time. So to me, that's one of those things where we kind of learn the lesson.
Yeah.
We gain the knowledge.
Yes.
And now we're actually able to move forward. So like you were saying, there are so many different ways you can go with your soul's blueprint. But if you stay in that gratitude, because after that, and this is why I think I stayed in that gratitude in that space, because after that, they did some digging. Come to find out, they still owed me almost $500. So I ended up getting more money. So I'm like, and then yesterday, I don't know what the hell happened, but my mortgage company sent me a check for $500. So I'm like, damn, maybe I did something right. Like maybe the nugget that I was supposed to take, I took it. And from me taking that nugget of still feeling gratitude, and in that space of, I know everything's going to be okay, other stuff became even bigger. Like I got more money just by me being okay in the moment with what was happening. It's just, I'm telling you, the universe is something.
Can we, that same example,
Okay.
because this is mind-boggling to me right now. I miss these conversations. You didn't hold the frequency. A bill came in where you owe 500, and then another came in where you owed another 500. That's the parallel timeline.
Absolutely.
What the fuck?
Absolutely. Yep. And then instead, I got money from being in that space of, I know I'm protected. I know I'm okay, regardless of what happens. I know everything's going to work itself out. I am divinely protected. So that's where I am with. This is how I feel about life now. And it took a minute for me to get to this point, but this is how I feel. And this is what I love to show people and to teach people and to guide them through, just being in that unbiased place, just flowing. Staying neutral, stay in that neutral spot. But we are human. We're going to feel, the dense emotions and the negativity of the energy that's around us. We're going to feel these things. And especially with empaths, if you're an empath and you know somebody's sad, you're going to feel like it's going to kind of gravitate to your body in some type of way. Like, that's why when I look at like TikToks and different things, like, when I see something that is sad, I might watch it, but then I have to like kind of be like, okay, Nicole, ground yourself. You're an empath, just chill out. It's okay. That was that person's experience, blah, 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 blah. They're learning a lesson from that. This was just for your own eyes to see as well. Different things like that I think we don't, I think if you take it deeper levels, if you really understand it on a deeper level, and meditation was the thing that actually helped me understand all this stuff on a deeper level.
Rewind before you keep going, because You really channel it right now. You don't think you realize shit.
I think I am. I can
You are
feel it.
you are. That's why I'm like, okay, you're saying a lot, and I need to go back because I just
Like, can I give you another one?
yes.
Okay, in my session, uh, I'm gonna give you two. Um, there was beautiful women in this, and I'm gonna give you two examples of one of the women was talking about her adoption. Like she didn't know she was adopted until she was like 15, 16 years old. And that really kind of, hurt her deeply. And when she went to go talk to her, like to find her mom and everything, her mom was like, she didn't want anything to do with her. That impacted her even more. So and she was like, she didn't understand it. She was hurt behind it. And I was like, okay. So me being the person that's actually able to pull down the downloads as we're talking, I was actually able to give her a shift in perspective. I was like, okay, do you have your own kids? And she was like, absolutely. I said, okay, how do you feel about your kids? And she was like, oh, I love them so much. And I said, this was the lesson behind that. You were actually able to understand what it felt like not to have a mom. So you were actually able to take that channeled love and give it to your kids, because you had the empathy to know how it felt. So you don't want your kids to feel that way. So now you were actually able to reset yourself and say, this is not what I want for my kids. I'm going to give them the love that they deserve. So now you were actually able to take that experience that you went through and how it affected you, and you were actually able to take that generational curse and change it for the better for your own children. So that was one way of that I kind of was able to shift the perspective of somebody's, what they were going through in the program. Another one was there was a woman in there that her husband had infidelity issues. And it wasn't like just one or two times, it was multiple times. And, he's being really, really not a very nice person to her, but they've been together for a long time. And she was like, I just want him to love me. I said, so the channel message for her was this. I, I said, the reason why he's treating you this way in the physical world, in the spiritual realm, they're both like in the ethers somewhere, understanding what's happening. And basically, in the plan that they created, the soul contract that they created, he's going to do all these things to her until she finds that self-love for herself. Like, you got to go through all these things. And if you're going to keep continuing to let him do these things to you, it's going to continue until you say, wait a minute, this is not what I accept. I need to find out something better for myself. And when you start to love yourself on a soul level, not just the physical level, because I'm like, do you love yourself? She was like, yeah, I love myself. I said, obviously, the contract that you guys have, you have to learn how to love yourself on a soul level so that these things will stop happening and you set your boundaries. And I asked her, like, what is your number one boundary in a relationship? She said infidelity. So I said, if that is your boundary, but you're allowing him to do these things, then you're not loving on yourself enough. So when you start to love on yourself, and I said, and how you're going to tell if you're on the right track is when you start to really love on yourself. I said, go out by yourself, read a book to yourself, take walks by yourself, do things by yourself that you love, that you miss doing. And I said, and once you start to do those things and he start to see that you're acting, he's going to think that you're acting weird and you're doing things like, what are you doing? He's going to be suspicious. You're on the right track. Because now, like, you are giving him that notion that, okay, something's starting to change. And when you notice that he's asking you all these questions, what you doing, where you been, when he starts to get offensive about you just loving on yourself, you know you're on the right track. And I told her, and I said, when you start to love on yourself, you don't know if he's going to actually move with you, like move in the same level and direction as you, or if it's going to actually, separate the relationship. But that is a that is a part of the what's the name? Like, you have to, in order for you to love yourself, like, these things that relationship may break off, but it's for the better. It's for the betterment of yourself. So that was another thing that I really truly gathered out of these one-on-one sessions that we would do together. I mean, it was really, really good. It was I can't wait to do the next one, but yeah, it's been amazing. And being able to channel those messages for them and give them a different perspective. And that perspective to me kind of like lowered some of the dense emotions and the feelings that they were having, because now they're like, damn, I never really thought about it, because that's all they kept saying. I never really thought about it that way.
Because it's you don't know what you don't know.
That is true. That is true.
What the fuck? What's important about what you're doing is shedding, because like you said, some things that has happened to people are so painful that of course it's hard to, release and I guess come to terms with it. But with the perspective that you're offering, the spiritual perspective, it helps one to understand on a soul level where you're able to come to peace with it, which then you're able to alchemize.
Yes.
So at that point, you're kind of you are merging with, I would say, your oversoul, because like, oh, we're on the same page. Okay, I got you.
You're tapping into that spiritual concept of your oversoul, and you guys are intertwined at that time. Now, I don't know if it's going to continue, because some people, they get it in the moment, but then they forget. And I think that's why they were like, we need to have these like every month, because they're actually able to tap in and get that information back, and it kind of replays in your mind again. Hey, she did give me this. She did help me empower myself, and she did help me heal some of those parts of me that I had been holding on to for so long. She gave me a different way of looking at it. So basically, like, even with them, I tell them all the time, we have a soul contract, because if it was not for the soul contract, we wouldn't be able to connect. Me and you have a soul contract, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to do this right here. And I think, honestly, this particular time that we're talking, I have fully been completely myself. The full onion layered back person, the higher part of me, the elevated person, because we always talk, but I don't think I've ever talked on this context before.
No.
Now you see what goes through my mind.
Fuck hell. Guys, welcome back. That's all I can say. Welcome freaking back.
What a great start, right?
You feel me?
Look at that. We just elevated each other. This is why I love doing this. And I really never even talked about the whole channeling part of things or anything. I talked about it before, but not in this context, where it's recorded or anything. Because it's always been something that, like, people are like, ooh, what are you, a witch? Like, no, we all have the abilities to do all of this stuff. But it's about the onion. It's about the layers of the onions. So you got to be able to peel back those onions and those layers in order for you to be able to tap in to your clairvoyancy or whatever it is that you may have a gift in. And I think that's what I've done. I've been able to really, meditate. Like, for me, I have to continue my meditations daily in order for me to be balanced with my spiritual side and my physical side. Because if I don't, then I get to that point where the density starts to kind of, move in a little bit. But then if I feel it, then I'm like, because usually I vibe at a very high level, But there are
Yeah.
days when I don't tap into my higher soul, that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't meditate today. Or if it's been a week, I can truly feel it, like truly, truly feel that I haven't tapped in, because I noticed that my physical body
Come
is
on.
either tired, or it's at a point where it's just like thinking about, overthinking about everything else. But when I notice that I'm in an elevated state, I'm like happy, I'm joyful, I'm that light that I'm really supposed to be. So I have to stay tapped in. That is one thing my oversoul was like, she has to stay in the
Yeah.
actual uh in the actual hypnosis. My oversoul was like, she has to stay tapped in with us at all times, daily, because if she doesn't, she can, sometimes when you don't tap in, you lose a little bit of that not frequency, but that connection. Like, say
Agreed.
for instance,
Yeah.
if I don't do this for a year, if I don't meditate for a year, I don't connect, and I don't find that highest, path in my soul's blueprint. I don't stay on that highest path. So I do. For me, that was a um a necessary for me, is to tap in daily. So in order for me to be able to do these things, like you can tell Erin taps in daily, because she's like, you know, straight with it. She don't even care.
Yes.
She's just like, so it's like when you tap in daily, all of that stuff just peels away, and then you become that version that you're supposed to be.
Mm, that's a very good point, actually.
Yeah.
I want to,
I see the smoke.
I didn't get me thinking. I feel like I just had another awakening. Cause
Well,
like,
they happen all the time. People don't realize it though. We think it has to be this big grand thing, but sometimes it's just a conversation where you're getting some nuggets from other people, and then it can open up another door inside of your mind, or your, the spiritual essence of who you are.
it's a beautiful life.
Huh?
It's a beautiful life.
Oh, absolutely. No matter what.
Everything just comes full circle. I don't know, you have me pondering about my life. Cause I've been feeling like I'm on this trajectory almost,
Mhm.
where things are aligning consistently. I don't know. I need to go to the drawing board and think about this. But this is thought-provoking for me at the moment. I want to touch
I love
upon
it.
the fear of rejection because
Yes.
we chatted about this before the episode started. Um, and we'll just say for sake of conversation, um, we are, for the lack of better words, the black sheep of the family.
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
that well, I don't even like that term. I'll take that term back. Throw that term away. We are the one who has awakened in the family,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yes.
So we have certain insights that they don't. We like
Yes.
to share those insights, and the way we do it is through social media.
Yes.
Most of, we'll say most family functions are like operated based off of like, religion, or just, I wouldn't even say closed mind. It's just a limited perspective because you don't know what you don't know. You only know to a certain point. So when we express ourselves in a light that's different, that's outside the group, um, we get nervous. We don't want to be called weird or blah blah blah. But when
Yes.
in essence, it's the message is different from what is being said, but it's a reason why you even feel the need to even judge because it's resonant. You just can't figure it out. It's like this don't make no sense, but I
Right.
don't know. She might be onto something here. I don't know. The
Yeah.
healer might be
We
inward.
we definitely you definitely get that. Like, I'm sure people that are in my family that see me now, like because I was heavily into the church, like every Sunday at the church, giving thousands of dollars to the church. And really, I had three different jobs at the church.
Mm-hmm.
But once I really started to tap into meditation, I saw all of that stuff differently. Like, I mean, truly differently. And there's nothing wrong with if that's helping somebody, absolutely. If that's giving
Right.
you the power that you need to kind of move through your life and it's that force for you, that's perfectly fine. But for me,
Right.
it changed. It changed, and I saw source, God, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. I saw that differently, because we were taught that God is a male,
Mm-hmm.
when in fact that's putting God in a box. And
Yeah.
me personally, God is all, like plants, animals, humans. If God created this galaxy, this universe, or whatever, how can we say that God is only a male when there's so many things out there and there's so much that, I mean, even a bottle of water has energy, like,
Mm-hmm.
because basically what God source is infinite
Energy.
intelligence, energy. Everything is energy. So if this is energy, God is this. I mean, God is in everything, everyone, anything that you can think of. So it kind of opened my meditation, kind of opened my mind to a different perspective when it comes to religion. I didn't know the difference between religion and really being spiritual and really understanding it. But now I kind of understand it. And my biggest thing is, like, if, one of the things that gets me now, that I have to, like, release my own judgment
Mm-hmm.
because I'm still human, is when I see videos and people are talking about God and what God has done for them in their lives, and that person says, he got me through it. I'm like, click. And I know I shouldn't be that way. So I have to really work on understanding that, you know, that if that works for somebody,
Yeah.
if that works for somebody and they're only going by the programming that they've been taught,
Mm-hmm.
then, if it works for them, I can't judge that. That's what
Right.
works for them. But then when I see like heavy hitters, like what is his name? 19 Keys and different people like that. Like, I'm like, if they are really tapped in, they should know these things of
Yeah.
how God is infinite intelligence. But I do hear him say a lot of he, and I'm like, damn, like, we gotta get to it. But then I'm like, okay, Nicole, release your own judgment, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously this is working for, people behind the scenes. So it's
Yeah.
you know, so when it comes to the God thing, like, I've learned that it's more, you got to go deeper than the surface level that
Yeah.
we see. You have to go deeper in order for, really to kind of get the nuggets behind everything. Like, I don't know all the answers, but really, honestly, through meditation, actually, I always say, through my husband going through cancer and me going through caregiving,
Yeah, you have said
all of
that. Yeah.
that just opened up the floodgates, and it
You always
really,
say that.
brought a different perspective to me about life, period.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I realized that life is a game. Even though people are like, it's real, it is.
Yes, it
Like,
is
you're
real.
going
Yeah.
to feel the pain, but behind the scenes, like, even now, if I go somewhere and it's a lot of people, I'm like, why I got all these extras in my goddamn movie right now? Like, where all these people
Yeah.
come from? Why are they all here? Like, is it that I didn't want to feel like, I wanted to be by myself in this particular scene at this moment in time? So it's just
Yeah.
so much that I have learned, and I know people are like, oh my gosh, she is so weird now. But at this point in time, I don't even care. I have
No.
a hoodie line that says stuff like that. It says weirdo. I have it. I have one that says "Good Day, Good Humans," and it has like an alien on it. I mean, it opened up so much for me, so much. I was always a meditator, but going through that difficult journey and that difficult time in that dark space really made me tap in really heavily to find the answers to get through it. And once I did that, it just, yeah, it just opened up a different, it brought forth, the light that was in me, and it changed me. But I'm a different person than I was. I'm a different person probably than I was 2 weeks ago, honestly.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
Yeah. So I don't know.
You I, guys, if you go, I'll put our previous two episodes, because I love this because you
You
see the
see the difference, huh?
evolution and see it's just beautiful. That's what I love. Episodes like these remind me why I started, why I do what I do. It's just amazing. You get to help people, you get to chat with your friends, and it's making
Yes.
impact.
Yes, absolutely.
That's lovely. Nicole,
Yes.
I always ask this question to my guests. What would your message be to humanity during this time?
Um, Learn the art of self-mastery. Learn how to love yourself a little bit more each day. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. Like, you come first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's your mom, your husband, your kids, like, you have to take care of you first. And that is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. Like I always
Mm-hmm.
say, my husband, going through what we all went through, he gave me the best gift he could have, which was myself. He gave me me.
Mm-hmm.
And in his moment of sacrifice, honestly, because we don't realize that on the spiritual sense, he sacrificed some of his health, to level the people around him up, even himself. So in
Mm-hmm.
this sense of him, leveling people up, he leveled me up to who I am right now. So if it was not for him and me kind of creating that soul contract of, cancer and caregiving, I would not be here. We wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't know who Rich is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know any of the channeling and the hypnosis, any of that kind of stuff. I probably would have learned it in a different sense somewhere down the line,
Yeah.
but it happened in that particular point. So this is why I say throughout any adversity, there's always something you're gaining out of it. Like I had one of our cousins, he lost his wife not too long ago, maybe about 3, 4, maybe about a month ago now.
Okay.
And they were just chilling. They were like out, they went to, I want to say Cancun. Was it Cancun? And they got on the little raft boats, the little banana boats.
Mm-hmm.
And she couldn't swim, so she fell off the back of it, but they didn't know that she had fell because she was the last person.
Oh wow.
And when they realized, I think they, pulled her out of the water and everything, but they said they don't think she drowned, but something happened and she
Mm-hmm.
passed away. And though it was a difficult thing, now watching them, the whole family go through what they're going through, it's amazing. Like, it grows people up. Like
Mm-hmm.
they have a son together that in the beginning, when she was here, he was more immature. Now
Mm-hmm.
he's taken on a large role in their family. The father and um the kids are absolutely closer.
Mm-hmm.
So, he posted something the other day. He was like, "You left me in good hands." Like, it's like
Mm-hmm.
we don't realize that out of these things, and though we don't, like, it's hard for us to really understand death. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably one of the most painful things that you could really go through on this physical plane. Um, but the thing is that we all have an expiration date.
Yeah.
So that's one way. And if you look at the statistics, none of us make it out alive. So that's another thing. But it's just like we think we have enough time. We don't think it's going to happen to us, those type of things. And I think that's where the shock
Mm-hmm.
comes in. But with him, it's just like I can see how her death has leveled them up in a spiritual sense,
Yeah.
and in a physical sense, because now they are absolutely, they've always been a close-knit family, but now, like, everybody is starting to grow up, everybody's starting to understand what family truly is and the connection and all that.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can learn. So I always take it back to self mastery, self love. For the collective, it's literally about self love to me. And one of the things that I learned from the cousin that passed away was she always she died what she loved doing, which was having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like she would they on a Monday, she'd be like, let's go to Cancun on a Friday.
Yeah.
And it's like she always stayed in that high frequency of happiness, of fun. And, this, like she taught me, she inspired me to stay in that space and to not take life so literally and so like you gotta find moments of happiness. You gotta even through the 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 things that seem to shake us, you
Mm-hmm.
still have to find those moments where you can find the joy in the journey. So yes, my thing is for the collective is really about self-love, putting yourself first, and really being able to hold yourself accountable on something as well, because we don't do that either. Um, yeah. What is that? Self accountability is something that a lot of us don't do. We don't look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, we could have done this a little differently, or what role did I play in this? So it's like it mainly goes to self mastery, which encompasses self love, you know, soul love, self care, self accountability, self forgiveness, all of those different things. It's really about self, self, putting self first.
Put your damn self first, guys.
I know I went all the way around Robin Hood's barn, but
This is beautiful. I don't I don't think you realize because like this whole episode you've been channeling and it's just been beautiful to just observe.
yes, it is. And to
That
actually, say the things that I've been wanting to say for a very long time that I wanted to share. So that really felt good.
this is a fresh Sunday up. This you can't get any better than a Sunday episode. This is church. We the church.
Church.
We the church. Nicole. Okay, guys. Now I don't know when you're gonna have your next cohort because I'm gonna provide her details below so that you can follow her on Instagram and I believe you're on TikTok too, aren't you? Yeah, you're on TikTok.
Yes, I'm on TikTok, Facebook.
Um and Facebook so you can follow her and know when the next cohort session is going so you can tap in or just get some awesome insights because Nicole is awesome. Now I need a part two of this episode because I feel like I didn't dive into.
I'm down. You were trying to just take it all in, so now you're gonna have questions. So we can definitely tap in again.
Okay, you the best. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode just as much as I did recording it. Cheers from England, cheers from the States. Enjoy your Sunday. Roll a joint, pour a glass, because that's what I'm about to do. Cook your dinner and live your best life.
And happy Father's Day to the fathers.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to the fathers. Oh, yeah, it is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to the fathers, to the human fathers, the animal
Yeah,
fathers, and it's the
absolutely.
fathers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make sure they cook you some food too.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to go do. Cook some lasagna. I got my
Oh no.
granddad is here. He's 85. My
Shout out to
husband.
Granddad.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. They're
I
upstairs.
love lasagna. Well, I'll let you enjoy your day. Thank you for being on. Guys, thank you for listening. And enjoy your Sunday. Peace.
Peace.